And good morning to you. This is Victor Bals coming at you from Highlands Mortgage in good old-fashioned Brighton, Michigan. And I thought I'd reach out to my past customers, clients, partners, all my associates there, kind of give you a mortgage update in the market on what's going on out there. We are now into the second quarter of the year. We just come back from Easter break, and boy, what a first quarter we had in 2021. But I want to tell you about a personal experience first here. Back in December 18th of just 2020, we're shut down and all that. So I wake up on December 19th and I said, you know what? I'm not going to have a beer today, So the next day I wake up, I said, you know what? I'm going to get on that treadmill today. So I got on that treadmill day after day after day. And now 111 days later, I went from 228 pounds down to 183 pounds. I'm down 45 pounds. I'm off my blood pressure medicines 100%. I am no longer pre-diabetic. And I'm feeling pretty good. I hit some goals there, and we look at that first quarter, we were shut down. We couldn't go out to eat, couldn't go out and have beer, nothing like that. So I kind of took a negative situation and I turned it into a personal good situation based off of the environment and what was going on. So I kind of looked at it as in a positive way, and it's made some real positive changes, both personally and with my family. And also went ahead and planned the trip to Florida in June. For God's sake, we're going to Florida in June, but that's the only time the kids could get off. But this time when I go to Florida and I fall asleep on the beach, Greenpeace is not going to come drag me back in the water because I'm going to be looking good out there. And so that's my goal anyway. But so anyway, first quarter, boy, is that real estate market going crazy out there. I've never seen nothing like this in 20 years. We see people bidding 5, 10, 15, 20, 30,000, 40, $40,000 over asking price, and they're not getting their offers accepted. We're seeing people put in offers with appraisal guarantees that they don't care. They're going to pay $10,000 over what the appraisal comes in at. The inventory is at an all-time low. But yet, in values, these prices just keep going up and up and up. So on the flip side of that, we got to look at all us current homeowners. Our values are just going up and up and up. And so we're all sitting in a pretty good equity position here. And interest rates are starting to crawl up. 2 months ago, we were looking at 2.625% on a 30-year fixed. And now yesterday, they're up about 3.25, 3.375. And we see these rates are going to continually go up here. And then I'm seeing in the fall that they may adjust and they may come down a little bit. And we got to look at why is this happening here? And as we look at, they just pumped $2 trillion more dollars into the stimulus, right? So this is going to be a euphoric situation. It's only going to be temporary. So all this money's coming in. Everybody's out there high-fiving and body slamming, out there spending the money. And, look at the cars. Cars are selling at an all-time high. So what's going to happen? That's great for the economy. A family may go out or a person may go out and buy a car. And, that's going to keep jobs at the car manufacturer, the people who deliver the cars, the people who detail the cars and get them off the lots and all that stuff. But that's only going to, stick around for a couple months. And then that euphoric nature is just going to kind of fall off. And now what we're stuck with is that consumer is stuck with that $500-600 car payment. And now they don't have $500 or $600 extra a month to dump into the economy to keep the machine going. So when we spread that all across the country, this whole pattern is going to kind of fall in place. And what happens when everybody's out there spending like they are now, there's inflationary jitters. And what do the feds do to curb inflation is they go ahead and raise interest rates a little bit, slow it down a little bit. So I see this euphoric type situation weaning off in maybe September, October. Then I think rates may relax a little bit here. So it's a really good time. Now, just a year ago, year and a quarter ago, rates were up over 4. So, these rates going up a little bit, it's nothing big. There's still a great opportunity here. And so what I want to do is, talking about personal goals or personal health, I also want to talk about financial health. Okay. And when we talk about the real estate market, we're going to talk about here people buying homes and what they need to do to buy homes, but also for all you consumers that are sitting there on a lot of equity that maybe had some downturn because of COVID, loss of jobs, spending money, upping your debts there. Maybe we could utilize this equity before the market shifts and kind of hit the reset button and change your cash flow going out there. But so when we talk about purchases out there, people are trying to put an offer in contingent upon selling my house. And here's a typical situation I hear every day. I want to sell my house first because I want to pull the equity out and I want to put 20% down on the next house because I want to avoid that PMI by any cost. And I'm thinking, okay. And I call that the father syndrome. I ask people, so where'd you get that? I go, well, I heard it from the FBI, my fathers, my brothers, my in-laws. And, my parents always said, hey, pay cash, put as much down, put 20% down to avoid PMI. PMI is not the devil. But what's happening is we are not seeing offers get accepted when you put an offer in contingent upon selling your house, because we got 15 other offers out there that are non-contingent of selling a home. So what I want to do is walk you through a couple strategies. So grab your popcorn. It's about a 15-minute video. And if you watch it a couple times, I think you're going to pick up some information. And if you want a bag of popcorn, just send me an email, give me a call, send you a bag of popcorn. You can watch it again there. So I want to walk you through a couple strategies that I see working brilliantly. And I want to crush some of those myths about putting 20% down may be the right thing to do. Okay. And also we're going to go over, you're going to see these strategies, how we consolidate some debt, create cash flow, and actually pay off the home in less than 30 years here. So if you can follow along here, I'm going to get your brain cells firing on all cylinders. And if you got any questions, please give me a call here. So I'm going to go ahead and share a screen here with you. And screen 3, and here we go. So what I do is I call this 20% down may be an unwise financial decision. Now, remember, there's no wrong answer here. Any advice that anybody can give you is the best advice is always whatever makes you feel comfortable in the morning when you wake up. You got to live with this. I don't here, but I want you to just think of some ideas, get some brain cells firing here. And also we can utilize these strategies for some debt consolidation. So this is a real life scenario here. I had a couple come into me and they say, Vic, we want to sell our house and we want to buy another house, and I want to sell it and put 20% down so I can avoid that private mortgage insurance PMI at all costs, because to me, that's the devil. And I said, okay, let's do that. So this scenario, this guy wants to buy a $250,000 home and he wants to put 20% down to avoid PMI. Okay. This property has about $3,000 in property taxes. And now when he sells his home, he's going to net about $55,000 from the sale of the home. Currently, he has about $5,000 in savings, and he's got about $42,000 in his 401k. And I said, okay, that's cool. So on a $250,000 purchase, we end up with 20% down in a $200,000 loan. And with the taxes and insurance, his payment's going to be about $1,289. And this gentleman says, hey, that's cool. I'm comfortable with that. Okay, so now we look at the cash to close on a $250,000 purchase with 20% down, a year of taxes, a year of insurance, and the closing cost and the loan. And he has no seller concessions, and we'll go over that in a minute. He's going to need about $60,234. So what's going to happen? He has to sell his home. He has to come up with $60,234. Now, if you recall, he sold his home. We wiped out his $55,000 proceeds from the sale. We wiped out his savings, and now he has no other reserves for emergency account or moving expenses or anything like that. He just has his $42,000 in his 401k. And he seemed to be cool with that. I can come up with the extra money, I'll borrow it or get a gift from my mom and dad or something like that. Okay. So anyway, so I said, okay, let's take a look at your current situation. So his current situation, he has a house payment of this, he has a second home here, he's got a truck, a quad runner, some student loans, and his total cash outflow right now is about $3,285 a month. Okay. So now on the new home with 20% down, his new payment is going to be $1,289. And with all his other debts, he's going to be at about a $3,448 cash flow. So he's going up $163 a month. He says, yeah, Vic, that's cool. I can afford that. I said, okay, no problem there. And so now I said, tell you what, are you open to some other ideas? Why don't we put 5% down? And he goes, well, I'm going to have that PMI insurance. I said, yep, but just kind of follow along with me here for a little while and just open up your thought process here. I said, okay, so now what don't we do is let's look at 5% down on that purchase. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to have PMI insurance of $53.44 a month. And that's going to fall off in about 84 months. And now his payment's going to go up to $1,522. Okay. But when we put the offer in, we are going to put the offer in with 5% down, non-contingent of selling my home, which is going to give him a higher probability of getting an accepted offer. And we're going to ask the seller for $5,000 in seller concessions, which means the seller can help pay some of the cost. Instead of haggling down the price, we asked the seller for some $5,000 in seller concessions. And he actually got this when we ended up with this strategy here. So now as we look at that, he can now buy this $250,000 home with 5% down. We're going to have PMI insurance here. His payment is going to go up from $1,289 to $1,522. So he's going to raise his payment $233 a month. But here's the cool thing. If we look at his cash to close is now $17,000. And we reduced his cash to close versus 20% down by $42,000. If you remember, 20% down, we needed $60,000. 5% down, we needed $17,000, but his payment's going up $233 a month. He says, okay, I get it, but I don't like that PMI. I said, just follow me here. Because now with this strategy with 5% down, it allows us to buy non-contingent of selling the current home. And it's going to act as a much more attractive offer for the seller. Okay. So now the question is, so where do we get the money to buy 5% down without selling his current home? Because if you remember, we only had $5,000 in the savings account. So here's the overall strategy. We're going to go a little bit deeper in detail here in just a moment. So we're going to take a temporary 401k loan. Remember, if you borrow from yourself, you don't pay any penalties. You're just going to start paying yourself back. So we'll take a loan for $17,000. This gets us to fund the close on the new home with 5% down, non-contingent offer. Once we move in, we're going to sell the current home and net $55,000. We're going to pay back the $17,000 for the 401k, and that's going to leave him $38,000 in his pocket. That's the $55,000 proceeds minus paying back the 401k loan. He's got 38 grand in his pocket. Now watch the magic here on a pretty cool strategy. So now, as we look here, the new home cash flow, if we look with 5% down strategy, the new payment is $1,522 plus all his debts here. His new cash flow is $3,681 a month. It's up another $233 from what his current situation was. So now, if you remember, we bought 5% down. It only cost us 17 grand, and we have $38,000 left for the proceeds. I said, hey, instead of putting that down on the house, why don't we go ahead and pay off these yellow debts right here with $29,316. Let's pay off all these debts, and now we reduce these monthly payments. So now we take his cash outflow from $36.81 down to $26.16. Okay. And of that 38 grand, we pay off 29,000 in debt, still leaves him $8,600 in the bank. And we relieved his cash outflow by $1,065. We paid off the quad runner, the car, the student loans, and we paid off a credit card. Not bad. So as we continue here, now let's get a little deeper. And now remember that PMI insurance we had a little bit earlier. Did you know that with 5% down, you would have PMI insurance for about 84, 85 months, and then it goes away automatically. But did you know you can buy out of that private mortgage insurance upfront at closing for around about a 40% discount? Now, remember, we paid off the debts, right? And we went ahead and we still have $8,600 in the bank. But for this gentleman to buy out of the PMI insurance, we can buy out of it upfront at a 40% discount for about $2,664. And we can actually reduce his payment from $1,553 down to about $1,468. So we save a little bit more money. Actually, we save $53 on the PMI, and we lower his payment to $1,468. So now what we've done out of 38 grand, we paid off the debts, we bought out of the PMI, and that still leaves him $6,000 in the bank. But now look what happens to his total outflow with the new payment, 5% down, buying out of the PMI. His total cash outflow from buying with 20% down is $2,562. So we're actually saving $1,119 a month from him putting 20% down versus putting 5% down, buying out of the PMI, and paying off some of that debt. Now we've got $1,119 a month in cash flow. Okay, so now if we take this a little bit further here, he says, well, let's look at the interest I'm going to pay on that higher mortgage. So when we go in here and we look at back to the 20% down, $200,000 loan, his total interest over 30 years is going to be $143,000 versus us putting only 5% down here. He's going to pay $170,000 in interest. So he's actually paying $26,900 more in interest. Yeah, you got me. All right. Yeah, you're paying more interest here. But I said, follow along with me just a little bit further. Okay. So now I says, we're going to save $1,119 a month in cash outflow. What if we took $200 a month and we start adding that to the principal each month? Would you be comfortable with that? He says, yeah, I've got $1,119 a month extra cash flow. Sure, I can add $200 a month to the principal. I said, well, look what happens. If we add $200 to the principal each month, now we only pay, excuse me, $123,000 in interest versus 20% down at $143,000. Okay, so we save about $22,000 or so, $20,000 in interest with 5% down versus the 20% down. But here's the cool thing. If you look right here, by adding that $200, we don't pay it off in 30 years. We actually paid off in 22.58 years. He says, wow, that's pretty interesting. So he says, you mean I don't have no payments for 89 months or 89 months or 7.4 years earlier because we're paying it off in 22 and a half years? I said, that's correct. So now if we take the principal and interest payment you would have had for 7.4 years of the principal and interest of $1,133, that's $100,000 in additional savings because you're paying it off early, plus the $20,000 in interest savings versus the 20% down over 30 years. So by you putting 5% down, buying out of the PMI, and taking $200 a month of that $1,100 a month cash flow savings, you're going to be $121,000 ahead of the game than putting 20% down. He goes, wow, okay, you got me, Vic. Continue here. So as we move on, I said, okay, So we went from $1,119 a month. You're adding $200 to the principal. Here you got $919 a month. What the hell are you going to do with that money? He goes, I don't know. I said, how about this? Why don't we take $400 a month, right, of that $919 left? And I go, why don't you start investing it in the mutual funds, in your retirement there? He says, that's cool. And I said, how much you making? What's your return on your retirement? He goes, oh, I make it 6-8%. I said, okay, I tell you what, let's take $400 a month and let's start investing it. And let's say you make 4% on the average. And I said, let's add 1%. It could go up to 5. And let's say, hey, the market could go down to 3. But let's look at an average here of 4%. So let's add $400 of that additional cash outflow that you now have to your mutual funds each month. And let's go for 22 years until your house is paid off. Remember, it's paid off in 22 and a half years. Now, what'll happen at a 4% interest is you're going to have an additional $168,000 in cash. Your house is now paid off 7 years earlier than the 20% down. He goes, that's pretty intriguing. I go, well, here, let's take this a little furthermore. We had $1,119. We took $200. We added it to the principal to pay it off earlier. We took $400 of that savings. We invest in ourselves at 4%, and we're going to net $168,000 in 22 and a half years. Now we still have $519 a month in positive cash outflow. What do I do with the money? Well, that's for quality of life, man. $500 a month. You could take the kids to Cedar Point, go buy a new barbecue grill, something for the kitchen. I don't know. Go out to dinner, high five and body slam. But use that $500 a month as just quality of life. And he says, Vic, I'm all in. Let's get this strategy rolling. And so to recap what we did here is, if you remember, the savings when utilizing this strategy on 5% down versus 20% down, we save $121,250 in principal and interest. We invested all that savings at 4%. There's $168,000. And that quality of life, $500 a month we've got over the next 22 years is another $110,000. So that's a total of $440,000 more towards your wealth than you putting 20% down to avoid PMI at all costs, because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And there's nothing wrong with that, if that makes you feel comfortable. But when I use this strategy, remember, it's very difficult to get rich quick, but it is very easy to get wealthy slow, And what I want to do here is, I just thought I would roll these strategies out here, because it is about quality of life. I got healthy last quarter. My father, I lost my mother last year. My father now has vascular dementia, stage 3. He's got Alzheimer's. He's got a brain tumor the size of a golf ball that they can't operate on. And that really hit me in, last year. And I thought, Jesus, I want to live. I want to take care of my family. I don't want to be the richest guy in the graveyard. I want to enjoy life a little bit here. And so I've really thought about, don't put so much away. Look at cash outflow. And now any of you people, who are buying a home, great. This is a great strategy. But for you people that are sitting on a lot of equity, we maybe have some high interest debt out there. Rates are a little higher than they were. They're still lower than they were, time ago, but maybe take advantage of this market with this high prices, utilize this equity, and let's reset the button on that cash outflow and apply a couple of these principles and give you a quality of life, free up some cash flow, lessen the stress, so we can get this all taken care of here. So if you got any questions on this strategy, give me a call, send me an email. If you want me to send you a bag of popcorn so you can do this again, or hey, if you want to just call and, if you guys are on diets or anybody's on a diet wants to get healthy, just give me a call and I'll tell you how I did it, because everybody's journey is a little bit different. But I just wanted to pass this message. Life is short. Let's enjoy it. Let's support each other and let's share some strategies here. So with that, I just want to say thank you very much and give me a call if you have anything I can help you with. I'd love to help you out. Thank you very much.